See if anybody's in here. Anybody in here? Anybody at all? Probably not. Looks like we got the place to ourselves, which is a good thing. If you can hear and see me okay, just hit the like button. Let me know that you can see and hear me. Move it over this way just a smidge. I'm going to start out. I'm going to feed this sourdough real quick. Then I think we're going to do a little pan cleaning of the vintage, super old vintage cast iron kind of cleaning. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I don't know if anybody can. But we can always restart if nobody can hear what I'm saying. So anyway, I'm going to feed the sourdough starter real quick. Do a little bit of that. Just give it a little maintenance feeding. That there. There's people coming in. I don't know if they can hear me or not, but let's see. Welcome to the live chat. No like shit. There we go. There, I'll hit the like button. How about that? I'll hit it. But let's get this fed real quick. See what's going on out there, if anything. I'm just going to do a maintenance feed on this. I'm thinking 25 grams of each should be sufficient just to keep this rolling. I don't have much starter left because I made a bunch of bread this weekend. A little bit for that, a little bit for the flours, or a little bit for the flours, a little bit for the freezer, a little bit for me, for the week, for sandwiches. If there's any comments with her. Hair Badger, yeah, what's going on, buddy? Can you hear and see me okay? Oh, good. Excellent. Yeah, I've been having some issues with the sound for some reason. I'm not sure what's really going on with that. So I've tweaked a couple things, and I was just kind of doing a little funsy video just to see if oh man, I went over by 10 grams. I have to add 10 more grams of flour, but I just wanted to see if there was any see if it actually came out. Oh, yeah, I went over by 10 grams. I have to add 10 more grams of flour. But I'm just doing a maintenance feed on this with, I got some King Arthur all-purpose flour, which I'm not really too jazzed with. Everybody makes a big deal about King Arthur flour. I don't particularly find it all that amazing, to be honest with you. Well, there we go. A little more than I wanted, but because what I tried to do is after I run out of starter, this jar was almost completely empty, and so what I did was I just mixed in about 10 grams of flour and 10 grams of water, and I just kind of reactivate it, and that's what I have so far after all that. Over by 10 grams, oh my god, I know. Hey Eric, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Yeah, I've been messing around with this. I've been having sound issues, and I don't know what was causing it. And I was tweaking some stuff over the weekend, and I just wanted to see if if this might work. We were having to restart and restart and restart, and I don't know what in the hell was going on with it. But I did, like I said, I tweaked some stuff on here over the weekend. I did some deep digging, and instead of doing like phone and sync cameras and sync and that kind of stuff, I'm just going straight off my phone, which is just like a regular Android phone. But so I don't know. That's a little, if you guys can see in there, that's a little soupier than I actually like it to be. That's one of the things about the that I notice with the King Arthur flour is I get soupier results with my sourdough starter than I normally do. So I'll just drop a little bit in there. And yeah, when Tom was saying that I went over by 10 grams, when it's water, it makes a bigger difference. I'd rather have it more of a thicker consistency than more like a muffin dough or muffin mix than pancake mix. If that makes any sense at all, which probably doesn't. I tend to like. I tend to dig on Androids. I think they're easier to use. I had the iPhones when they first came out, and like I had the iPhone 4, iPhone 5, and that kind of thing, and they just were garbage, and I never went back to them. Now my kids, they all have iPhones. Everybody in my family has an iPhone but me. I'm like the black sheep when it comes to like that kind of thing. This is still a little soupier, but it's still kind of a soupy consistency, if you can see that, which I don't dig at all. But I'm not gonna make a bunch more of it because I don't want it. I don't want any more of it than that. Because I don't want to end up with I don't want to end up with like sourdough starter up to here by the end of the week when I make bread on Friday. This week I think I'm gonna make. I did a couple loaves of bread yesterday, so I think tomorrow. Or this weekend, I'm actually going to do English muffins, like a couple dozen English muffins. The thing about like recipes, you can double them up and triple them up, but sourdough stuff takes so long because it just takes a long time for everything to happen. I don't know why, but it does. I like the short ribs cast iron. I have some habaneros growing and asparagus. It's been super nice out. Yeah, man, it's been amazing outside. We've had it's been overcast here this weekend. We've had some rain. We went through like a really hot spell, which was really a kind of unusual hot spell for where I am in the Midwest for this time of the year. But it's starting to level off and get kind of the normal June weather, which is sort of a late. It's here. June is usually like, the first part of June is usually like a late spring where it gets like 70s, rainy, which is good for the garden. So I got that part done. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go grab a piece. I've been wanting to get into my lye tank and get some pieces cleaned up. I've got one piece out there that I'm doing for a friend of mine that has an antique store, and it's not really for him to sell, but it's just he found one. So I'm going to go and grab that real quick. It's right outside. It's like 10 steps away. And I'll be right back, and we'll get started cleaning that. And I'll show you guys how I clean my cast iron up. I like the summer thunderstorms. Yeah, I was in Asheville, North Carolina yesterday. It was wonderful there. Really. That's around where, isn't that around where Smoking Bears is at? Isn't he around that? Isn't that area he's in? Somewhere like that? Yeah, we've had a lot of thunderstorms here lately. They actually had tornadoes the next county over last week. They had a couple tornadoes, and then they had a tornado touchdown outside of Cincinnati. I don't know if it was on the Kentucky side or if it was on the Cincinnati side. but they had some tornadoes there. Ronald Coward, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. I'm about to go to the lye tank, and I'm going to dig up a piece of, see whatever's on top. There's a piece that I've been wanting to work on and make some more room into the thing. So I'll be right back in just a second, and we'll go through my process. Everybody came out, glad we had sound today. That's pretty. That sound thing. Funny we can know that. I think you guys can kind of dig on the piece of the doctor. That back up. All right, first in line, what do we got here? All right, we got a Wagner square skillet, Sydney O. Pretty cool piece. This was really cruddy. It didn't have a whole heck of a lot of rough spots to it, and it really wasn't all that. This is a little surface rust, but yeah, this is Wagner square skillet, obviously, 1218, and they made these from the mid 30s, early maybe 1934 to about 1957, and you can tell that because they actually say Sydney, Ohio on it. That's what the O's for. And that's an E. Some people think that those are mold marks, and they claim that these E's and A's and all these things are mold marks. I do not believe that. I think that's the year it came out. I think that this would have come out in probably, they started making these in 1935. I would say that this probably came out in 1940. I had a guy that worked at Wagner, an old timer that worked at Wagner, tell me that once. Oh, Tom and Erica. Oh, Eric, they're calling you Erica. That's funny. It's Eric, yeah. Yeah, this is cool. This is actually Ming's, where the antique store that Ming works at. This is her boss found the owner of the store found this and asked me if I'd clean it up for him. And I said sure, because he has to work with my daughter, so he's got it way worse than I do. So let me fill this up. I always fill this up with like warm, like medium water. And then once we get that over top of that, can you guys see that okay? Am I doing you guys justice in here? Can't go over any much further. Get that straightened out. But I'm going to put some warm, just medium, right in the middle, water there. I use the bottle. Let's see. That should clean up well. Yeah, I think it could use it as a bottle jack support. The good shit. But yeah, this should clean up pretty good. That one corner didn't seem to want to come out in the tank. So I figured I'd come in here and I'd give it I take one of these little deals to it, and I'm going to let it sit. Now, I have this sit in lye, and it's not food grade lye, it was just regular lye. Now, don't use Drano, because there's other things in Drano than that. But if you get yourself 100% lye, and you go a pound of powder lye to 5 gallons of water, And oh, there's a ladybug in my house. Ladybug just came in, and it's not one of those creepy Ohio State Japanese beetles either. Little ladybug. You need to go outside. You need to. You'll go outside. You just flew away. Let's see. I like the casserole dish we got a while back with the lid. Little casserole dish. Huh. With the lid. That's hard to say. It's hard to say. I got a lot of stuff. I actually got another piece from my grandmother's house. We're still cleaning out my grandma's house. I got a Lodge griddle. It's kind of the double play style, the Pro. But it's old. It's not old, but it's probably from the 70s. I found that yesterday. And I also found some really... I'll show you guys. I'll actually show you guys one other thing. Now, I actually didn't find this. My daughter was up in the attic opening boxes up to see what all was up there. And I'll show you this real quick. And I found, my daughter was going through boxes. Now granted, most of my family worked for a TV station, our local TV station, back up until like just a couple years ago. But in a box up there was a case of these glasses. There's 22 of these glasses. They're the 75-76 World Championship NBC glasses, because that's who they used to broadcast on when they did that. But I got a case of almost a case of these yesterday. Little drinking glasses. I think that is so cool. And that's from the 70s. That's, and it's been sitting up there in these boxes for 50 years. Almost. Yeah, 50 years. And there's a whole box of them out there. I think that's super cool. Back in the Pete Rose days. Because when I was a little kid, they had a sports show, little kid, like so little I don't remember this stuff. But when they used to have a sports show, a local sports show, and I'm only like an hour and a half from Cincinnati, where I live, and the town like around there, and the Reds players, they would interview them on the weekends on this weekend sports show. And I got to go up there when the Reds guys would be there. I got to go up there and hang out and meet the Reds guy. Like I've met Pete Rose, met Johnny Bench, Joe Morgan, Geronimo, all those guys. I don't remember it, but my mom has pictures of it. Oh, and what we're going to do is we got their water in there. I just wanted to see how that rust was. But I always take about a cup of vinegar. A lot of times you'll see people do like a spray bottle with like 50-50. I don't really do that. Sometimes you can tend to like eat away. You can etch your cast iron when you do that. If you don't get it 100 or leave it on there too long, you can actually put little speckles on there. So what I do to neutralize all that lye is I just put it in the water and let it kind of chill out. Let's see. Cast iron quilter. Hey folks, opening old boxes is fun. My grandparents kept everything. You never know what you'll find. Yeah, I had an aunt and an uncle that never married, and they lived in the same house they grew up in. And when my grandmother passed away, back in the 80s, they just stayed there. So my grandparents bought that house in like 1950. And it's been when you walk into that house, now a lot of it's different because everybody's been packing stuff up because we're getting ready to sell the house. But when you walked into that house, it was just like being in a house in 1950. Up until, if you didn't see the TV, you would never know that it was from, that it was modern, that it was 2026. You would have no idea. It just, everything was there. the kids, you know, my aunt and uncle, my mom's, my pic of when they were little kids, my grandparents, like when they were young, the photos hanging on the wall. My grandfather was a lawyer, and he worked from home, and he had his office was basically the dining room, and his desk was still sitting there with the old black phone and the Rolodex and case files in the drawers. It's just never changed. I mean, nothing's changed in that house other than the TV and maybe a couch every once in a great while. But my grandmother, like going through her cupboards, my grandmother had, which I have a lot of it now. I have a lot of stuff that, like the little like cookie cutters and things that I have. My lemon juicer. My grandma got those from a guy back in the 40s, from a guy who pulled around a cart with a horse. It was bought right off that. Now it's in my kitchen. But that's how. Trying to get that one spot. There's always that one spot of crud. You guys can see that. One spot of crud that didn't want to come off. So I'm going to work on that. The rust is coming off pretty well. But what happens is, so I had this and all that lye. You did the 1 pound of lye, powder lye, mixed in with 5 gallons of cool water. And then you let your stuff sit in there as long as you need it to sit in there. And then, boy, that piece is on there. That piece of seasoning stuck there. And then what I do is, after it's done, I put in that cup and a half of vinegar, and that'll neutralize the lye. And then once I'm done with this, once I've gotten this cleaned up to where I want it, I'll take baking soda and scrub more off there, and that baking soda will neutralize the vinegar, so you don't have any issues with that. Let me see if there's what's anybody saying here. You remember those glasses? I don't, man. I mean, I've seen a gajillion Reds glasses in my lifetime, but I don't ever remember those necessarily. But those are cool, man. There was one. It's in my dishwasher. There was one. I don't know if anybody remembers Holly Hobby. I barely remember it. It was kind of a little before, like, I don't know. Plus, I was never into Holly Hobby, but they had there was a Holly Hobby cup in there from like McDonald's or Burger King or something, or some hamburger spot that was in there with it. Like I said, it was a case of 24, but there was like there was one spot missing, and then there was a Holly Hobby cup in there. So hopefully those all, I don't know what I'm going to do with 20 some Reds cups, but I figure I've had, you know, I'll use them. Use them as long as I need to. Yeah, that one piece of seasoning does not want to come out of there. We'll hit it with it. We'll maybe grab another different kind of brush and get in there. Because that's not one. Yeah. Let me see what all I've got in my arsenal of tools to scrape stuff off with. That's a fun sound. It's almost like in the lye bath, that one piece didn't like sit under the water, like there was an air pocket or something. But this is why I charge people money to do this. And when I charge people, when I tell them what I'll do it for, they always say, "Oh man, that's a lot." And it's like, well, I did take the dirtiest thing in your kitchen, and clean it for you. And I'm back to almost new, if not new. Getting a little somewhere with that. Might have to go get a different. It's hard to get this little brush in. That's one thing about square skillets. The round ones are a lot easier to get into. Makes me almost want to take this and cut that thing in half and get that in there. Well, you guys can't even see what I'm doing. Sorry about that. I'd be careful with the dishwasher. With old glasses, I would be afraid of breaking them. Yeah, I'm just gonna run that one through there, and it's kind of it was sort of in my way yesterday, so I said I haven't run the dishwasher yet. I was kind of thinking that too. I might. I know I won't run the other ones through the dishwasher. I'll hand wash those. Oh, that's coming off. This is gonna leave a little stain. That's mostly come off there. It's just gonna leave a little stain. Sometimes they get stains. What do you do? You know, this thing's 90 years old probably. Might have a stain or two. Let's see, let me move this. Wipe my hands off. Point this over just a little bit. Move my camera over. I didn't realize you guys had such a bad angle of where I was. There we go. All right, cool. Yeah, they don't. I mean, they don't. I was talking to somebody who's working on my truck, and there's a guy around here, I guess, that does it, and they were saying we have a lot they had a lot of stuff they wanted redone, but they didn't want to give it to the guy because it takes so long. And it's like I've had pieces out there. Probably the one I'm getting ready to grab next, if we get that far into it, if I get that far into the live stream. The piece I'm going to grab next, the Dutch oven that's out there. I've had that in my tank since last fall, but it was a mess. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, hey, you know, it took you decades to screw this pan up as bad as you screwed it up, or somebody did, or you found it that way, or whatever. It's taken decades to get the way it is. And if it takes me a month to clean it, I think that the law of averages on the time that you're talking about is pretty, it doesn't take me near as long to clean them as it did for them to get in the condition that they're in. Put that back in there, it's starting to flash with us a little bit. Check out the back. Give the back a good scrub. Whoever had an electric stove, you can see the circles. You see that on the back? The circles that are kind of into there. It was the seasoning on this. I need to start taking, I've never done it, and I've always been bad about I'm bad about taking pictures anyway, but I need to be a lot better. You would think in the hundreds of these pans I've done that I would, for once, take a before and after picture of one of these things. But you can see how that vinegar is starting to get at the rust that was in there. It wasn't rusty real bad. It just had some surface rust. But you never know what you're getting into underneath all the crud. That's for absolute certain. But we'll get it back to normal. Let's see. I worked on an old waffle iron for a long time getting it cleaned up, and a Turkhead's fan. Man, I won't even touch Turkhead's fans. I don't know how many dozens of Turkhead's fans people have brought. I've shown up with Turkhead's pans in a box. And I've said, absolutely not. I am not touching that. I don't touch that, and I don't touch old Asian cast iron, especially if it looks new, because it has all that crappy beeswax on it. I used to dip them in wax, and you want to talk about, that's a really good way All that wax is a really good way to screw up your lye tank. And you'll have a bunch of crud in the bottom of your lye tank. Because bees, anything bee, if it starts with bees, it's hard to clean. Believe you me, making cast iron cure all these years, it's still one of the reasons I make so much at a time is because it's such a nightmare to clean my stuff up. If I make like 100 or 150 cans of cast iron cure, it takes me another 2 or 3 hours to clean all my pans and pots and melting this and melting pots and everything else. This pan's in actually really good shape. It sits flat. It's got a casting flaw here, which isn't really uncommon. I've kind of been checking to see if it's cracked. It was really thick. Whoever had this pan before, who had it before Tom, they loved it. This might have been their only pan. Let's get that scrubber now on here. Start working at that rust. Can you guys see that up at the sides? It's got that yellowish tint. That's a little bit of rust that's starting to come out. The vinegar is bringing that rust up out of the not really pores, but out of the these aren't flat. Out of the little crevices, the nooks and crannies. It's bringing the rust up. I don't know how long I've been working on this. What is it, 6 o'clock now? I don't like to keep it in the vinegar very long. That's why I don't use a lot of vinegar. I'm gonna go check the comments. Hey, here's my best pal Debbie. What's going on, Debbie? Good to see you. Love it when Debbie comes in. I wouldn't mind seeing my friend White Mountain Girl jump into here, or my pal Heather White. She had a really good set the other day. Heather does she does YouTube live streams out of Belfast, and she takes requests on guitar. She had a really good. You know when somebody you see performers a lot, but you can tell when they're just having a really good night. The other night she was having a really good night, at least in my opinion. Is that a casting? Yeah, see there's a casting flaw on the inside. I wonder, no, it's not a hole. Sometimes it almost looks like a weld. Can you guys see that in there? Right down at the bottom. It looks almost like a weld, but it's not. It's not through. So it's not a crack. And that spot came out. It's just got a little staining in the corner. There was a rust spot there too, for whatever reason. But yeah, this is coming along real nice. Really nice. Just thinking about it, I hope I have baking soda. Oh, old man with a pan. What's going on, buddy? I was just using the sourdough mixer you were kind enough to send me. Let's get up there and hit that. Get that little spot in there. I like these things. When I do them, I like to really get them cleaned up. Brand spanking new. As much as possible, anyway. Is that a hole in there? Is that a spot? Yeah, that's a hole. Not a whole hole, not all the way through, but like just an imperfection. Get down into that handle. Don't forget the handles, kids. First thing, that's a lot of times first thing people notice is the handles. The trademark and the handles. Which I really have always been a big fan of these handles. I think Wagner and Victor, the birdcage handles, were the best handles out there. The combo cooker handles that Wagner had are still my all-time favorites. But I always like these; they're so handy. And they were kind of the first. They kind of have that thing that keeps the handles cool. Right now we're just messing with the surface rust. Yeah, I hope I do have baking soda down there. I might have used it all. I might just have to count on dish soap. But that's not a bad thing either. Baking soda is not a necessity. But let me give this a spin and see if I have any. Because I forgot that I did, yeah, I think I'm out. Because I did put, in the bottoms of my garden beds, my raised beds, I always put a layer of baking soda down. Keeps the ants and the bugs from the roly-poly things away. This message is helpful review. Huh. I guess that's them doing it. That's not me. I'm not holding anything. And I don't think there's any moderators in here either. Yeah, it's going to be good. Like I said, I am out of baking soda, but we'll get by without the baking soda. It's nice to have it, but it's not necessary. Okay. I'm going to start to get flash rust on here. Start working on this in the sink. You can see it's starting to get flash rust more than anything else. Right there. See how it's coming right back off? That's flash rust. It's not. And the inside grooves came out okay. You guys can see that. I got in the inside, the grooves in there came out really nice. Well, we'll get the back of that a little more. Kind of clean that up, make it more even. Comment section. The straight water will neutralize vine. You think so? I mean, I'm not really too worried about it. It's just something. I kind of like using the baking soda for two reasons. One, it neutralizes the vinegar, but it also is kind of nice. It's a really good scrubber. You know what I mean? It's got that good. It's almost like using Comet on it. Yeah, we're getting a lot of flash rust. It's one of the reasons I like to do stuff in the wintertime. A little colder. Don't have to mess with as much rust. Let's change out that water. We'll get that vinegar out of there. We don't need any more of that. Don't need it. Yeah, no, it wasn't. That's the thing. Like I said, I don't really use a lot of times you see a lot of folks, they go 50-50 with the vinegar. And I've just seen, not all the time, but I've seen more, I've seen people really, really etch up their iron with it. I've got a favorite, not a Pickwa favorite, but one of the prison skillet favorite, the Columbus Hollowware favorites that I sold a while back, a year or two ago, and it was, I sprayed it with 50-50 vinegar. That's when I stopped doing it. I sprayed it with 50-50 vinegar, and it left spots, etched spots into it. As soon as I put it on there, it just etched them right into there, and they never came out. I couldn't even. I don't know if it ever. I seasoned it once before I sold it. But yeah, those splotches were on there after the first seasoning even. So I quit doing it after that. I quit spraying it directly on there. But if I have something that's really rusty, I just put it in the E-tank. Just put it in the old E-tank. Get that cold water, we'll get some soap in there. Start working on that flash rust and get that off there. Now I'm working with cold water now. There we go. And it comes down to it, I will. And this is like the only time that I ever use like Dawn Power Wash on my stuff. But I will use Dawn Power Wash to take seasoning off. It works really well for that. Just don't use Dawn Power Wash after it's been seasoned. Unless you want to re-season your pans again. Yeah, we'll just keep that. I'll get a little bit of oil here on. Once I'm done washing it, we'll get some vegetable oil or avocado oil or something like that, and then we'll dry it in that, and that'll keep that flash roast the way it should. It should anyway. Oh yeah, people are banging on that like button. Love it. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Actually, why I wasn't doing live streams, the subscribers were really coming to play. I have quite a few subscribers actually for the short videos, the garden videos. People like the garden videos, and I really try to just share with a little bit of. I'm no master gardener. I just share the little bit of stuff that I've picked up here and there. But yeah, like I was saying with the baking soda, speaking of the gardening, I do a layer. I sprinkle the whole bottom of my beds with baking soda, and I let it sit for like 24 hours, from like one day to the next. And then I throw a layer of garden bed soil, or kind of the potting mix for raised beds. I throw a layer of that down, about, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches worth of that, and then I take bone meal and blood meal, and I mix them together, and then I sprinkle it over top of that layer, and then I put another layer of soil on top of it, about another 3 or 4 inches, and then I layer a layer of manure that's been mixed in with last year's, because I always take all the soil from last year and I put it on a tarp, and then I mix like just bagged manure in with it, and I do layers of that, and then I fill the rest up with another layer of soil, garden bed soil. Yeah, that soap's getting that little bit of oily soap in there. It's still helping with that flash rust. Just needed to get it out. That's the other thing. If you use vinegar, for the folks out there that don't know, if you use vinegar, don't use 20 or 25% vinegar acidity. Use 5%, because if you use the 20 and 25% cleaning vinegar, it will etch your stuff, and it will just keep bringing that rust back. It'll just keep bringing flash rust back, just time and time again. You'll never get rid of it. Super strong. Okay, let's give this a, see that rust coming off of there? Give it a good once over. But yeah, that came out nice. Can you guys see that okay? I think that came out really nice. HB, do you happen to have Mud's address handy? I'm going to send him a surprise, but I can't find his address. I do not. When I had that crash, I lost a bunch of my emails. Like, I don't have your address anymore. I don't have, and I'm having a hard time getting emails to that email address. I got to take it in and have somebody really look at it. I mean, I'm pretty good with technology for the most part, but when it gets into the weeds like that, I have to figure out, something happened when they synced everything from my phone to my laptop and my tablet. Something happened, and I lost a bunch of my contacts, my phone numbers. If it was an old If it was an old contact, it was gone. If it was a newer contact, for whatever reason, it saved it. I don't know what happened, but there's a, so I was talking with somebody who works at a computer store, and he said that he has a way to retrieve all that stuff. Like, I lost all my messages from that day previous. Like Ming and my other daughters, we've all, I've never gotten rid of any of their messages. I have years worth of their messages on my phone, on my phone. And they were all gone. All the pictures and everything that we sent. All right, I think that's looking fairly good. I don't want to be wasteful with my water, but I also don't want to keep going with this much longer. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Let's check out the handle, see how the handle did. We'll get into that handle just a little bit. You guys can see into that grooved handle. There's just a little bit of something in there. But I do think this is going to end up being pretty darn, this is going to be good. And Ming, if you're watching, you can let Tom know that his pan is, as far as I'm concerned, pretty much done. And that stain, we can see if we can get it, if you guys can see that. That stain, it just had a little staining right there. You can see where that rust pattern was. Where it's like it sat in water like that. It basically sat in water like that. And it got rusty in that one spot. And then there was rust on that little place where that seasoning didn't want to come off. Okay. Throw that back in there for a second. It happened to me, very frustrating. What's that? When you're losing all your man, I know. I was so pissed. And then that seems like as soon as that happened, like we used to have, on a slow day we would have 3,000 people watching the live streams, and on really good days 14, 15, 13,000 people. And now I get done, and ever since that it's been like 300, 400. It's not getting reach, and it's just from that day forward, the first day of April. And I don't know what happened to it. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anyway, I'm gonna let that sit in there for just a second, and I'm gonna grab some paper towels and a little bit of oil. We'll rinse that off of there. See what else is out. I'll see what else is in the tank. That tank needs. There's two. I know there's at least one griddle, double play griddle, and one of the reasons it's been sitting in there is because it's got the grate on the other side. And I'll show you the one I got yesterday that I found in Graham's attic. But this is the one I found yesterday in the attic up there, and it's a Lodge. You can see it's a 7G12 Pro. It's the Pro model because it has the grease catcher, but I don't know when they got it. I never saw it, but you can tell there's like a sausage or hamburger or something made on it, pancake, possibly. Graham's house, they were big on pancakes. Pancakes, French toast, and scrambled eggs. That was a pretty standard breakfast at Graham's house. But it's in good shape. It's just been sitting in an attic for. I've never seen this. I've never ever seen this thing. And it was behind that box of the Reds glasses that were there. So yeah, let's see. Did you ever clean up that number 12? The 12 lid is in the lye tank as well. That is in the lye tank right now. But see, the back of it, it still has the original. I don't know how old this thing is. I don't think it's that old, to be honest with you. But yeah, the 12 lid's in the tank too. But I do know that it's down, the griddles and the lid are down at the very bottom. There's a few things, there's a couple Dutch ovens. I'm gonna rinse my hands off after touching that. Graham's house was built in 1900. Got a cedar wood attic. And let's just say, bats have definitely, at one point, there were some bats living there. I don't know if they still live there, but there were some bats. Your phone is lagging bad, or my phone's lagging bad? Debbie, if you can hear me. Okay. All right, let's give this a rinse. Oh wait. Let's get our paper towels ready to go. Rick, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Hopefully everybody can hear and see everything okay. Rick, can you hear me? Hopefully Rick can hear me. He's a mod. It's kind of important if he hears me, as far as I can tell. Let's see. But let's get the oven heated up to, we'll start with the oven at 225. We'll come over here to that here in just a few minutes. Let me get my paper towels. I've been wanting to try these new paper towels that I got. I know this sounds so stupid, but I got bamboo paper towels. The last time I went to the store, I got bamboo paper towels, and they seem really lint free. So I'm kind of stoked to use them and see if this works. Oh, yours? Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Debbie. But yeah, if you're watching out there, where's everybody at tonight? Tell Mercy I said hello. Yeah, where's everybody at today? You guys got to be somewhere. I am in rainy West Central Ohio. And it's basically, outside it's basically England. It's about 62 degrees. It's misting right now. Just misting enough that the dog doesn't like to go OUT. And all that. But our weather here over the weekend overall was pretty nice. It would start out nice and then it would go cloudy. Like every single day. Every single time. It's like hot here. Working in Morgantown, West Virginia, now heading home to PA in about an hour. Oh man, I just figured out who it is. I just figured out who that is. Yep, we just figured out who you are. Cast iron. I always get that one mixed up. I would say tell your better half hi, but we know he's not the better half. Just saying. Just saying. Artie may have married a little bit above himself. Oh, but Artie's my guy. Artie is my dude. I'm going to keep it reals here. Finally. Finally. I was hoping you would show up. All right, let's drain this out. We got our paper towels. We got our oil. We got our oil ready to go. I'm just going to use a little grapeseed oil on this. And I'm just sitting here jabbering and not doing anything. And I'm looking at I'm looking at the comment section. I've been MIA for a good minute. I've been making short videos, and that's been about it. So I feel you. Okay, so let's get that out of that rusty water. We'll get this rinsed off. I'm doing this in cold water because hot water will make that flash rust come back. And so far, I'm not seeing any flash rust. What I am doing is wasting a lot of soap and a lot of water, but that's the worst thing I do all day. It'll be a good day. We'll get that soap out of there. Then we'll set it in the sink full of clean water. Because the other piece that I'm going to bring in, I think is going to be too big to do both at the same time. That's why I did bring the other piece in. And the other piece isn't anything exciting, but it's one I've been working on. I got this piece when I got it. And I think I posted this piece when I first got it. But when I got this piece, the next piece that I'm going to work on, it was so bad. It had actually rusted. It had been left in it was a Lodge Dutch oven, just a regular simple double Dutch oven. But it had been left in its box in somewhere that flooded. And then after the flood, it was left to sit in the box. So the box was literally rusted to the piece. And it's got pitting in it that's never ever going to come out. But at the same time, it was wrecked. Like I literally had to take a scraper and scrape the box off and break the rust off of this piece. I will be watching for down trees and wires. We had tornadoes about 2 weeks ago. Been cutting firewood. Our hunting property is that trash. Oh, that's terrible. Better usually on Sunday mornings than going. And I've been going to church lately, so as soon as I was missing the live stream. Getting churched up, huh? On Sundays? Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I could probably use a little churching up myself. I'd go into one, but I don't want it to burn down or scare anybody. Yeah, that's so okay. So we got this completely rinsed off. I hope you guys can see that a little bit better. We did get in there really well. Those are completely cleaned out. The little spots are in the logo and in the description part. That came out really good. Got everything out of the imperfections, except for that one little spot right there. So I'm not gonna cry over that. And what I like to do is we'll take one paper towel. If I'm honest, I don't think it's working. That's awesome. That's funny. See, that's the kind of stuff I think is funny. That's a good one. Yeah, so we're using a little bit of avocado oil. I don't even think I have regular, like, cooking. A lot of times I just use cooking oil for this part because it doesn't make any difference because I'm going to wipe it almost all the way off. But I'm just going to drizzle a little bit of this on there. I watch from home the church service. Yeah, there's a lot of folks do that. There was one that I was watching because I liked the pastor, and I found it on YouTube, and they would go live on Sundays, and then they quit doing it. I just liked watching the pastor. He was really entertaining to watch. Like he had really good takes on religion, and really good takes on like culture and society, and it wasn't necessarily Bibles. He would start out with like some scripture or whatever, but then it would go to it would just go into like just I don't know. He was really funny too. If you want to catch me, if you want to get me, you gotta be funny. So we'll take that. We're gonna dry this off with the oil to keep that flash rust from coming back. And we're going to get down into all the little spots, all the little crevices around the end of the handle. The handle is so important. So always keep your handles cleaned. There we go. And these bamboo paper towels are really holding up. They're really lint free. I like these. I am digging on these. Okay. Let me flip that back over. Yeah. I pay myself every week. Pour just a little bit. I'm going to drop just a little bit of oil into there. And we're going to do another paper towel. We're going to continue to dry it. Now the thing about it is that as long as that oil's covering everything, you should be cool, because the oil and the water, when I heat this back up, when I put this into the oven, the water should evaporate from the oil and leave it behind. It's either science. I'm doing some science right now. Doing just a little science while we do this. And I'm really bad about using a lot of oil. Let me move that back over this way some. You guys back over there. Sorry, I always work on that thing. As long as it's 10%, Rick. There you go. I pay myself a heck of a lot more than 10%. But my accountant will tell you that I definitely don't pay attention to what I do with my money. I always tell people I spend half my money on booze and women, and the other half I wasted. And I will die on that. I will stand by that one to be about 90% true. It's tax deductible. Yeah, right. Okay. So I've wiped that down. I'm going to wipe it down again. And I'm making this sort of a sticky mess. Alright. I didn't realize how much I was getting myself into the shot here. Nobody wants to see all that. Nobody needs to see all that mess. Okay, that little alarm says that I have hit my 225 temperature, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to reheat this bad boy. Can you see there where it's sort of drinking up that oil right in these spots? We're going to set that back on there. That's not crud. It's just what I've learned to refer to as dry spots. I don't know what it's I don't know what the scientific version of that would be, but I definitely want to make sure, like in that little hole there, I was getting flash rust. If you can see that little hole, I was getting flash rust in there. So I want to fill that up. Put some oil down in there. I'll leave a little sheen on this. A little more oil on the back, just to make sure I get down into the mark. Smash the like button. That's what I'm talking about. That like button. For those out there in the stratosphere, if you've not subscribed, please subscribe. I'm trying to get the. We might, if we get enough views tonight. I almost forgot about this part too. If we get enough views today, we will hit 500,000 views for the channel. I am like right on the very cusp of hitting 500,000 views. I think when I came on today, when I looked, because I don't look at the numbers very often, but I looked at that today. It was at 497,500. So like 2,500 views, and we will hit the 500,000 view mark if we do it today. Okay, so we've put that on there. I'm just going to lightly wipe that off, and I'm going to toss this one into the oven. It's at 225. I'm going to let this roll for 20 minutes at 225. I do have a pan in there. I wipe stuff off though like I did something wrong, so I'm not really worried. I don't worry about like dripping oil into there. I really don't, because it just never happens. Because I don't leave enough oil on it for that to go wrong. Toss that in there, and we'll set our timer for 20 minutes. Actually, I'll go 23, because then that'll give it time that'll give it the full 20 minutes for it to heat up. At least when it comes to those tough to clean dishes. I like doing dishes, but the end result can be so satisfying. Yeah, 100%. See a cast iron quilter? Tell Artie I said what's up. Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna keep it real. Speaks the truth. Okay, so let's I'm just gonna leave that water into there, and we'll just add some vinegar to it. I don't want to waste my water. And if you guys would be so patient as to just hang out and let me grab this next piece out of the tank, because it's really just, I'd take you out to the garage, but it's really not worth moving the camera for, because it's only going to take me a second, and I'm going to be sticking my hand in live water with gloves, but I'm still sticking my hand in live water. It's nothing exciting. So just hang out for another second, and I will be right back with you as soon as I throw another set of gloves on and read the comment section. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked, man. I hope I can come off here tonight and be at 500,000 views. That's just, to me, that's just crazy. I think we really started doing these about 2 years ago altogether. And last summer, I mean, really just, I did a few videos and that was it. But last summer it really picked up. Hit the 1,000 subscriber mark at one point. Now we're almost to 1,300 subscribers. But yeah, okay, so I'm gonna go grab that other piece. I can still talk to you guys. I just can't take the tablet with me or anything. But yeah. You're right now opening the tank up. Put my snazzy nitro glove on, or whatever these are. These great with bad gloves. Oh, I almost forgot my rag. I forgot my rag. And I do. Safety first, kids. Safety first. thing about this piece that I'm about to bring in, it's never been used. It's the lid I already got done and back to it. But yeah, this piece has never once seen heat. It's never been in the oven. It's never been over a fire. No nothing. Put that on the stove. The Beagles get to this. Flying Beagles don't mix. I'm almost ready to put it. Drying it off so I can walk through the kitchen a little bit. It doesn't drip on the ground or anything like that. This piece has a really bad habit. And 99 times out of 100, something should be good. Why I really need to take her out at night time. This Beagle is really looking this. Although you guys see her being a cute, fuzzy trick dog, she's a pain in the ass dog when it comes to walking down the street and not eating stuff off the ground. But here we go, and you can see on here all this pitting and everything in that piece. That's not old season. That's could be some old seasoning stain or whatever. But that's where the cardboard was literally stuck to the inside of that piece. It was stuck and rusted here. Still got some rust up and around there. We'll get that off there. But it's got some flat, it's got some surface rust. This is going to be a little more cleaning than the other one. But you can see on the inside, the paper and everything, I almost thought it was lead contaminated because it was white. Yeah, let's see if you can see any more of that. It's starting to flash rust now that it's out in the air. But this thing, I mean, that's all paper that was stuck to this. All these little dark spots, that was all stuck paper from the box that it was in. So let's fill this up with some cold water. And we'll get our vinegar. And we're going to dump that into there. And I don't like dumping the vinegar. Where's the real star of the show? The real star of the show is out on the couch on her dog bed. I put a dog bed on the couch because I used to, I don't know, I've never been like really rough about the dog being on the couch. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I've never really had a problem with the dog being on the couch. But I put a dog bed on there so that she lays on the dog bed instead of like, because I have like covers on the couch, so it's not just like the Beagle being on the couch. You don't want straight Beagle anywhere. Okay, so we'll let that hang out. Just let that just under the water a little bit. I'll add a little bit more vinegar to this. So I just went to the dollar store and got the cheap vinegar. I'm not worried if I use it all. And if my beer runs out, I might just start doing shots of it. Let's see. Yeah, you mean she allows me on the couch? Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of that too, actually. But this might marinate in here for a little bit. But we are going to start working on the rust spots. Because if you can see on the inside, down in there, it's got some rust. But that might come up pretty easily. We're going to hope for the best. Because I've taken this out. This is the third time that this has been out of the lye tank. And my E-tank's not running right now because I don't have room in the garage. I've got everything so cluttered up in that corner, that part of the garage, that I don't want to run it. I don't really necessarily worry about the fumes of that, but I don't want to play with fire with it either, because let's just be honest, most E-tanks are just rigged up, man. I mean, they could be. I never like leaving my unless I can put my E-tank on the patio or something, I don't like leaving the E-tank run 24 hours in my garage. I've never had a problem with it. My jumpers are all done right. They're all capped together, twisted and capped. But at the same time, it's still a battery charger hooked up to some homemade bullshit, to be honest, you know. And I'm not an electrician. I think if I had to choose a profession, it would be man of leisure. I think if I had a professional title, I think that's what it would be, man of leisure. And I never claimed to be an electrician or a handyman. I can fix things, but I fix them if it absolutely has to be done. I don't look for, I'm not a project person. I have friends of mine that have like old cars and stuff in their garages. And in the wintertime, that's what they do so they don't get bored. In the wintertime, so I don't get bored, I make chili. That's what I do. That's why I don't get bored, I make chili. Seems a little easier than fixing up the car. I'm all about easy. I like easy. But I will fix it if it does need fixed. Let's see. No comments, man. Comment section's quitting on me. Guys. Oh yeah, that stuff's coming off. That's coming off nice. See how that's turning that nice gray in through there? Yeah. Yeah, boy. I've got a stainless steel brush out there, a toothbrush, kind of detail brush. I might actually go and grab that. But the rust is coming off. I'm pretty happy with that. You don't want to season over rust, guys, because you're just going to season over the rust. The rust is just going to come right back. This thing was an utter mess. This might be one of the hardest pieces that I've ever had to deal with, to be super honest. Because I've never seen anything. One, it's hard. You never deal with cast iron that's in a box, for one. Like that's the first part that's really unusual for me to deal with. It's cast iron that's in a box. That was in a box. Mostly, I mean, I found cast iron that was in the ground. I found more cast iron in the ground than I have in a box. And then to have the box rusted to it, that's a different level of, that adds a little bit of excitement to the whole process. That's for sure. This is where I wish I had baking soda. Baking soda would be a godsend right now. We are mesmerized. Are you? Are you really? I don't think you're mesmerized. I'm easily entertained, and that I wouldn't be mesmerized by this. Thank you, though. Thank you, though. Appreciate it. Has anybody seen our other mod, Mr. Greg Hart? I have not heard much from Greg Hart at all. He's a busy man this time of year. Get into there, you guys can see it's got some rust in there, but it's not anything that we can't handle. Let's get that scrubber in there. See if we can make some headroom on this rust with that. How much time we got? We got 10 minutes. So we add the cast iron cure to the, you go to the next step with seasoning our pan. And you can call me chintzy, but when I season pans for other people, I do 1 round of seasoning, maybe 2. Unless, like, I've signed my name on your birth certificate, I will do 3. But I generally just do 1 round of seasoning. because when people bring me stuff to redo, I don't know what they're going to do with it. You know what I mean? They could put it on a wall. They could put it up there and never use it again. So I do one round this evening. I was wondering about the brake. I was too. I'm like, I have not seen hide nor hair of Greg, old GH, my dude. Yeah, let's get that rusty, muddy water out of there. I'm actually interested to see what was underneath this one. It might have been that number 12, Ronald. It might be the number 12 you sent me. The number 12 lid. But this is taking up, you can imagine, a 5-quart double Dutch oven has taken up quite a bit of my Y tank. And I've got that other one, the one I got. Still have to get that other combo cooker that I got at Graham's in there. I've got to get, and then I bought that. Then I picked up that one really big number 9 Wagner Dutch oven. Oh man, I got you guys out of the shot again. My bad. I can see the comment section. If I get you guys out of the shot, just scream. One round of Jose Cuervo. That sounds good. Dr. Crazy Razor Experience. Man, that's a that's a great handle. Scrub that thing. Yeah, I hear you, brother. Dr. Crazy Razor Experience. Man, you've got Dr. Crazy Razor Experience. You've got to sub. You've got to subscribe. You've got to come back to this. Have to. You can't get around. If you're still out there, you have no choice but to come back and subscribe and be a subscriber. But I might have to get the detail brush out for this. I know I have one out there. I know I should have a couple of them out there. But some of this, you know, when you're messing with these things, there's going to be a certain amount of staining that's involved, and this is one of those examples of staining. It's just not. You can dull it, you can take it and make it lighter, but a lot of times, and I might just scrub this right off, but a lot of times that's not going to come back out. It can. There's possibilities. Anything's possible. But if you have that on there and you scrub and scrub and scrub and scrub and you can't get that off there, don't beat yourself up about it, because this stuff does stain. And like I said, this is brand new. This has never, ever been used. It just had till it got here, it had a hard road. That's why I say when you get with some of these things, check them out first, lead test, because you never know how hard they partied before they got to you. Let's see if we got that stain off there. A little bit. See if you can't get that out of there a little more. Come to my house. Dr. Grace Major Experience. We'll do a simulcast. We'll do an on location from your house. Did that come out? Oh no, that's the other one. That's the one for the disposal side. Get that floating in there. Actually, we should put that in the other side, so leaks down into mine. The only time I've seen a cast iron stain is after Mercy cooks in it. I take it Mercy's not in the comment section tonight. Or somebody wouldn't be getting as brazen as they are. Simulcast. We'll do a cast from Dr. Crazy Razor Experience's house. That would be one for the books right there, probably. Okay, so let's flip this over. Get onto the back of this thing. I'm trying to keep it as submerged as I possibly can to keep the flash rust from coming in. I've got some serious rust down in between the logo. But if you check out this logo on the bottom, this is how bad it was pitted. That the D and the G and the E are gone from the inside of that. They're just eaten away. Just eaten away. But I am determined to get this thing back into cooking service. Fuss Fork's in. What's going on, Fuss? Radagast is in here somewhere as well. Jeez, oh Pete. All hell's gonna break loose now. Yeah, this could definitely use some kind of an abrasive cleaner. Some baking soda. If I wasn't completely against sanding cast iron, this would be a prime candidate for the sander or the grinder. But we're not going to do that. We're going to stick to our guns. We're going to continue to be the anti-sanding and grinder gatekeeper that I am. Because it really isn't worth it. At the end of the day, it's not worth grinding it, and it's not. People realize that when they're grinding these things, they used to use stone grinders. It was a totally different ball game. They use stone to do things. We only got about 2 minutes before we go back over to the stove and break out and give the square skillet a little, give it a little cast iron curing. Oh, Radagast is in here. So look who snuck in. Cat dragged in Radagast. The old shoe polish style. That's working pretty good. Get up in there. I've used those detail brushes with the ones with the plastic handle, which I'm about ready to go see if I can get one out of there to get up inside of there. But I've scrubbed so hard that I've snapped those handles so many times. I don't know how many of those packs of those things I've went through in my lifetime. Dozens, probably. A dozen at least. This one did have a long handle, but I cut it off so I could do stuff like this with it. I've had this brush as long as I've been restoring cast iron, I think. Probably 10 years. There we go. See, that's looking pretty decent around the handle. I just need to get up into the inside there a little bit better. Yeah, Radagast is in here. Fuzz is in here. Fuzz, what are you doing? Something horrifying? Oh, there we go. There's the alarm. It says that's ready to party. Okay. There's a lot of rust. Can you guys see that on the inside right there? That big spot of rust. Big old spot of rust in there. Okay. Well, we're going to set that off to the side for a second. Let that marinate. I'm going to drop just a little more vinegar into that. Just a smidge more. And let that do its thing. Everybody must be mesmerized again, Rick. The comment section is lit. I've already opened a bottle of wine. It is 7 o'clock. Let's see here. All right, let's bring you guys over this way. There we go. That was the Mingster calling. I wonder if it would be safe to blast with walnut shell. I don't know. I've never used walnut shell before. I don't even know. Honestly, I used to sandblast stuff, but I did it company, you know what I mean, place I worked, I sandblasted. I don't even know what kind of medium we used, to be super honest. I have no clue. I don't know what it was. Let's get rid of that timer. We don't need it anymore. But we're going to take that out. We're going to wipe that off a little bit. You go. Okay. Okay, sorry you're just staring at an empty counter, but that's how it's going to be for a minute. They also use soda. I wish I had baking soda right now. That would make my life a little bit easier. I can't believe I didn't go get baking soda today. I was just there. I just went and got it for that kind of vinegar. Set that down on the trivet. Line up this a little bit. Thanks so much for the likes, people that have subscribed so far tonight. Really appreciate you there. Don't be afraid of the subscribe button or the like button. It will all be fine. Let's see here. Take this out. Make sure that we didn't flash rust it, which so far so good. We did not. That is a plus on that. So let's take and wipe off right about here. This is where I go and I wipe off all the excess oil that's on there that we kept from the flash to keep the flash rust away. We're going to lose that. And we're going to take this up to 350. We're going to do this really quickly. And I like using the avocado oil. You guys in the shot? Okay, yeah. I like using the avocado oil because I have avocado oil in the cast iron cure. So, which you can pick up my cast iron seasoning on eBay if you are so inclined to do so. Got a little flash rust in the inside of couple of the letters, I think. Well, we don't want to leave this uncovered too long. I did get a little flash rust inside the letters, and you guys saw me pour that oil right into there. But let's get the cast iron cure on there right away. before it gets out of hand. I'm not too worried about that. That stuff came out. And cast iron cure is right here. My original can from, gosh, who knows how many years ago I made that first can. That is the original can. But let's get that flipped over so we can get that oil down into the beeswax and everything down into that to keep that from rusting up. Yeah, that spot did get a little rust. I'm gonna hit it with that brush. I'm gonna hit it with that brush real quick. It did get down in there, but we'll just get it out with the brush real fast. The water's not gonna make any difference. You do not want the rust in there. I don't know why it did that. That is odd. But we got it out. There we go. And we'll just get another paper towel. If you're afraid of using paper towels, get yourself a nice dusting cotton cloth. Those work really well too. I just wanted to see how these bamboo pans would, or these bamboo paper towels would do, and so far I'm really digging them. Not any lint. See if you guys can see it. It got all that flash rust out of there, and that water will, if it was damp at all, it'll evaporate out. So that'll be no big deal. Get the corners, center. And the ends, and then we're going to get this handle really well. That handle really good down in the inside of the handle into the tricky spots. Wipe it off like you did something wrong, like you didn't want it there. But we are going to go back over that again. We're going to go back over it one more time. Not having that baking soda is really kind of throwing a wrench in my deal here. You guys in there okay? Okay. All right. Put my glove back on. This thing is, it's 225 is what I had it set at. A little more on there. And some pans will flash rust worse than others. Just I don't know. It's the amount of iron and different things. Every pan's different. It's hard to say that every pan that I've ever worked on has been exactly the same, because that never ever happens. Just want to wipe it down fairly good, and then we'll flip that over and get into the other side. Other side back here again. I'm going to get a different cloth. There we go. Normally doesn't take that much of this stuff, but I'm being very liberal with it. Get into the inside of the handle. Get into there. You can see where that started to want to take that oil seasoning on there, where I just did that little bit of scratching on there, that it sort of started taking the seasoning off of it, where it was starting to set into there. Hopefully it's not uneven when we take it back out. Let's dry that off. There we go. Flip it over. And now we'll take this back up to 300 and let's say 400. Let's go 450 on it. We'll go for broke on that. 450, and that's where we'll take it. Okay, we'll go back to working on that other one. So we'll go straight. Sometimes when it gets about halfway up to the temp, I will go in and maybe knock off a little bit of excess seasoning or excess oil on it, so it doesn't pool up and give it that weird pooled up look. There we go. Back over here. Back to the front. Let's see. What is cheaper? Let's see. I still have three pounds of Crisco. 6 pounds. Oh yeah, that's a lot. Tree Fitty. Yeah, baby. Are the bamboo towels cheaper than the blue shop towels? You know, I would say, I don't know how much a thing of, like, if I were to get 6 rolls of shop towels, which I have shop towels right behind me. I could have used shop towels. I have some of it sitting right behind me. But I think for 6 rolls of the bamboo I think was $20, $19.99. So I don't know. I have no idea. Let's see. You had some, okay, Radagast says, I had some bamboo dish rags and they wore out really fast. Did you invert the pan in the oven, HB? Yes, I did. Put it, by invert, do you mean logo side up? Because if that's what you mean, then yes, I did. Yeah, and then there's a cookie sheet underneath it. But generally, I don't use them. You guys saw how much of that I wipe off, so I don't really do that. I don't really worry about that anyway, because I've never had it drip down. And the cast iron cure, I know. I wish I had another can to show you guys. Cast iron cure doesn't really smoke that much. Yeah, it doesn't really smoke all that much. Hold on here. I need to get hydrated real fast. Let's see. But yeah. But I like I say, I think even in the description on eBay where I sell the cast iron cure, I even put up there that I wipe it off like I did something wrong to it. And I will wipe it off again. Because for whatever reason that pan's wanting to flash us a lot. But I mean it was wiping off onto the rag. But overall, I don't think it was a big problem. I don't think so anyway. I don't think. Mercy, what's going on? Oh, Rick, I bet Rick's done talking about you now. I bet he's had enough of that. We'll put on his good boy hat real quick. Real quick. I don't turn my pans over when seasoning because I wipe out the excess oil. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like I said, Radagast, I wipe them out like I did something wrong to them. That's what I try to do. That's what I advise other people to do, so you don't get that pooled up, messy look. Yeah, so you don't get that, because I've done that before when I first, especially in the beginning of. I've got drips on Phyllis's Dutch oven that I got from a friend named Phyllis, that have been there since I did it, and I mean they hardened up like they hardened up, like they're never gonna come off until I strip it again, if I ever have to, if I ever do. So, for sure, ice tray. Yeah, you gotta have the ice. You gotta have a real ice tray. I've even sent these. I even ordered some and sent them to my kids. Because I absolutely, I shouldn't say hate. Hate's a strong word. But I do despise plastic ice trays. And I only have one. I have one ice. I got rid of all my ice trays a while back, silicone ones, all that stuff. And that's all I do. And then the excess I just put in there. There we go. But anyway, gotta open this wine up. I haven't seen one of those in decades. Oh man, you can get them off the internet. Get them off Mercy B. They're on the interwebs. Get the stainless steel ones. I don't mess with the aluminum ones, but you can get the stainless steel ones for about, I don't know, $15. And if you got that prime shipping, got that prime shipping right to your door in 2 to 3 days. What you might know? I have no problem pouring you a glass. One for you, and one for me. I did pick these jars up though the other day. These are pretty rad. They're the Ball 250. The Ball 250 America 250 birthday ones. And I have a thing about anchors and stars. If it has stars or anchors on it, I'm just helpless. I can't help but buy it, so I'll take a decanter. There you go. But yeah, I have to, without even thinking about it, I have to pick it up. There we go. And the thing with these metal ice cube trays is that the ice is so much, is clearer, and it melts, or it freezes so much faster. And yes, I am I am putting ice in my wine because I'm that kind of fellow. Move you guys over this way a little bit. There you go. And then I just put the rest of them in a little container. But yeah, that's how I do it. That's how we do it around here. But yeah, it makes the cubes are so much clearer, and it freezes. It only takes like a half an hour for a tray of ice to freeze back up. Get piece of ice stuck in there. There we go. Now it's flat. Fill it up with some water. There we go. Done and over. OVA, as the kids say. OVA. Ova. Let's see. That freezer. Yeah, I'll have ice cubes. I'll have another round of ice cubes here in about a half an hour. Let's see, Ive and wine. It's the aluminum. That one was they're stainless steel. Yeah. That particular one is stainless steel. I don't know if I think a lot of the older ones were aluminum, like the old Frigidaire ones. I think there was a lot of those that were aluminum based. Myself, these are stainless steel. I like stainless steel a lot better than aluminum. Personal preference, I guess you could say. Let's see, move that kind of over. For some reason, my camera holder wants to lean. Man, that sounds good. I don't put ice in it, but we all do what we like. Yeah, I just it wasn't it was sitting out, so I don't like warm wine. I like chilled wine. One of my grandmas would just put the wine back in the liquor cabinet with the cork or a cork thing back in it, or a cap. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the wine she drank had a cap, which I have no problem with cap wine either. I'm not an expensive wine person. I don't. It kind of expensive wine to me always kind of tastes like old books smell, and I'm just not much of a fan. We'll set our timer. I'm going to set my timer for 60 minutes. That'll give it time to go up to temperature and be there long enough for that first round of seasoning. Sometimes you can. I've looked at like used ones. A lot of times, man, they're really, the thing about those old metal ones, the reason I bought new ones is because the old ones, man, are hit. And they're really hard to clean up. Stainless steel is hard to clean up. Aluminum's hard to clean up. I find that to be way more tedious. I'd rather mess around with cast iron than I would aluminum or stainless steel. And if any of you guys remember, we had a viewer for a long time, and I can't remember. It's been about a year and a half ago when we had one of the viewers that was watching fairly regularly, and he sent me a prototype for the company he worked for, carbon steel. Trying to find somewhere where, because with carbon steel you can't actually sandblast it, and I guess from what I've researched, it is better to sandblast it, and it doesn't affect it, to bring it back to the original way that it was. All right, back to the front here. Yes, that's a metallic tongue. I think stainless steel is harder to bend. It's more durable than aluminum as far as ice cream goes. Well, yeah. It doesn't. That one, if you saw when I pulled the thing back, I don't worry about bending that like I would, like say an aluminum one. 'Cause aluminum's soft. I mean, you look at like Airstream trailers, those things, they dent so easy because they're all aluminum and they're so soft. They're pretty once they're buffed up. I mean, they're beautiful, but they dent up really, really easily, and it's hard to get them out. Get that stuff out of there. Go back to moving you guys back over this way, just a smidge, and we'll work on the inside of this again. You can see the inside is, but this thing, man, this is definitely, if my E-tank was up, this would be a prime candidate. And I'm almost half tempted to go get another piece out of there that's not as rusty and think about, it's the only problem this weekend, I'm so busy. I don't have time to E-tank, be around. I like to be around the house when I'm E-tanking because of the fire hazard of it. But this would definitely be a prime candidate for the E-tank. But I'm really super close to being able to have the E-tank back up and running. I've just had so much stuff in that garage, but I've been thinning it out and getting that all taken care of. Sadie's been in fuel a few times a day. I have been aluminum ice trays yeah. I mean, I do leave them. I run them under the water and then I leave them sit on the counter for 2, 3, a few minutes to kind of let that ice get softer. And that seems to help. But you can definitely, I'm going to get rid of that rusty water too. But you can definitely bend the aluminum way easier. And I've had that ice cube tray for probably a year now, and I haven't had any problems with it. I highly recommend it. And I got mine off Amazon. And it was like 15 bucks, I think, something like that. They're not, I mean, they are a little more pricey, but than buying, 3 for $4 at Walmart. But if you're going to have it forever and it makes better ice, it's a hell of a lot cheaper than buying an ice machine. Plus, I got sick and tired of having 6 or 8 ice cube trays in my freezer all the time. Took up a lot of room. Okay, so we got to 450 on that. Let's see, where's my brush? Fuss come in here and steal my brush. Oh, there it is. You gotta blame everything on Fuss. Seems that that's worked for me over the years. I just blame everything on Fuss 48. But he doesn't mind. Down on these handles, see how these handles are looking. I know I got the one side pretty good. Yeah, it's got some really, really serious, I don't know if you guys can see that in there, but man, it's got like just a couple real seriously deep pieces of rust in there that just being very resistant to the scrub brush here. They're not playing ball. That's where I wish I had some baking soda. There we go. Check out the comment section, see what's going on. Close to it. Yeah, 100%. I know he took it. Since I got here late, is your pans ones you've had a while, or just bought them? This was the one. I think I did a post about this one, and it was a friend of mine's pan. Who this one in particular, it was a double Dutch oven. Now I've already done the lid, and I've given that back to him. Probably a month or two ago, and this particular piece was it had been in like a storage unit or a garage, and the garage flooded or got wet somehow or another, and the box had actually rusted to the piece, and I had to peel, like literally take a putty knife and break and just go over it and over it and over it. And I thought at first it was lead contaminated because it was just white, like all the crystallization of the water and everything. And I initially refused to do it, and I said I wouldn't do it, and then he was like, "No, it's not lead. It's not lead contaminated." Because I thought like maybe it had been stored next to a battery. In a flooded, like a garage got water damage, and then it was next to a battery or something, because it had sort of that white look. But I looked it up, and it's like a crystallization that it does when it rusts, and I took on the project. So this one actually isn't mine, it's a friend of mine. But we did get the rust out of the inside of the logo. But like I said, even the logo is just like half the logo is gone from this piece. But oddly enough, the lid, and for those that don't know, a double Dutch oven, it's just basically another skillet on top of the Dutch oven that you can use as a skillet. And that came out great. I didn't have a lot of problems with it. It had some pitting issues, and it had some things on there that are, marks that are never going to go away. But it came out great. And this will come out nice. It just has to You just have to go through the stuff, crap, to get it like that. And I got that one spot right there that just doesn't want to play ball. If I had some baking soda, I know that would come right off. And that's going to get under my skin enough to where I'm going to go get a box of baking soda at some point, I think, before it's over with. But I've had some wine and I had a couple drinks already, so it'll just get cleaned off and oiled up and set off to the side. But that's how it's going to be. Because I've gotten most of the rust off. I mean, you're getting some flash rust here and there, but that'll, if I had it down in the water, it wouldn't be doing that. And I'm not too worried. I never get too worried about flash rust anyway. Flash rust is pretty easy to deal with. Oh yeah, Mercy, you did miss that. She was amazing. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. She wants to be a circus dog. But right now she's being a couch dog. I think she's bored. I think she's been bored the last couple weeks. Now that I've been back to work and all this stuff, I think she's bored. And I've tried to take her to do stuff. Like even like I'll get the ball out and like throw it around. And she's got her new lead and anchor in the backyard, and I'll throw the ball a couple times. She's just like, it's not the same thing. Like I don't think she gets the idea of the lead, actually. I don't think it's her jam. I think she wants me to be out there, like, and usually I am. Like when I take her out, and even when I put her on lead, like I sit on, got some, patio furniture and stuff in the backyard, and I sit out there with her, and all she wants to do is come over there and get petted. Like I think she's having some anxiety about me being gone during the day at times, and she's acting weird because of it. Because I think here at some point, pretty soon, I'm going to get her a buddy. I think I'm going to get another beagle, because she could use a friend that's not me to hang out with while I'm not here. But of course, I don't know if I'm asking for way more trouble than it's worth. Because I've seen some of the stuff she's done. Some of the things she's done on her own are pretty horrific. Some dogs get really bad separation here. The weather sucks, the dog's supposed to act towards the July's coming, dogs hate loud noises. Yeah. You still watching Western? I've been do like the, when I'm gone, I play a lot of the, of all things, I play video, our live stream. Like I find the longer ones, and I replay them out on the big TV in the living room. And, I sound so old when I say, out there on the big TV in the living room, out there, she's sitting on the Davenport watching long form television. But yeah, I throw those on sometimes when I'm gone. And she has like Nature Channel. And she does watch Western. She likes the horses. For whatever reason, she does react to the horses on TV. Kind of whatever. It's kind of cool. I have tried the howl videos where the dog, like you get like the videos with packs of dogs, and they howl. She won't howl. There's nothing, I can't get this dog to howl at all for whatever reason. Yeah, man, I'm beginning to wonder if that one spot right there is ever going to come out without some kind of baking soda. Because I've gotten most of these other ones off of here. And I don't want to really, I don't use power tools on my stuff. Unless I have used power tools for like on the inside of handles where they have like the flash. I've knocked that down. I had a pan that I gave to my mom that the handle had a lot of flash in the inside that they didn't take off, and I did take a buffer and buff that off. So yeah, man, this is like a huge reason to use baking soda. Because this is not what to play ball. I'm not going to go drive anywhere. I'm going to get baking soda. Might just need to put this back in the tank. Badger put the view on 24/7. Put the view on. Yeah. Nah, we're not big on the view here. We're not big on that. Is that even on TV anymore? I remember it used to be on. It used to have what's her name? Barbara Walters. I don't know who's on it anymore. I don't know what goes, if it even is, if it's even on. Molasses will eat anything. Yeah. I remember, Ronald, I have a short video that I never published, which was a clip from one of the videos, one of the live streams, of you talking about that. I almost published it, but I didn't think anybody would understand what we were talking about. Because sometimes YouTube clips my stuff and they'll send me stuff to just see if I want to use it. And generally I don't, but because it's always really weird clips of things that don't really, like that one where we're talking about something and then I don't think anybody else will understand what we're saying. I wonder if Dr. Razor Experiment is still out there. He was watching. I hope he subscribed. I love when people have really good handles. And that's a good one. Dr. Razor Experiment. But it makes you wonder where people come up with some of this stuff. The one channel I'd like to find out where that guy is the honey badger. There's a guy on YouTube that lives in my state, and he actually has honey badgers that live in his barn. He has a building, and he plays with honey badgers all the time. He has like 3 of them. I don't know where he got them, because you're not supposed to be able to have them. But he must have had some kind of license or something. Yeah, this is going to definitely need some kind of... It's going to definitely need something on here, kids. A little something extra. Cool, kids. Because it needs to get down there and bring that stuff to the surface. And that's exactly what baking soda reacted to vinegar would do. Because I would be down to etch this. To be honest, I could etch this. And it would be better off than what it really is. Because you can see all the pits. You guys can see how bad the pitting is on here, on the inside, on the top of that. That's all pitting from where that cardboard had rusted to the top of the pan. I mean, it just absolutely got in there. And there's like, where is it? Like right through here and right through there. And there's another spot right through here. If you can see that. That's just, the rust is so deep, and it needs something like a chemical reaction to get in there to get that out. It's in there, and I've been sitting here. I mean, you guys sat here for 2 hours and 10 minutes watching me. The other one we did, and it's got about 45 minutes left. But this rust is going absolutely nowhere at all. Hopefully we got to 500,000 views tonight. That'd be sweet, man. Thanks so much, Mercy B. I appreciate it. Hey, gang, just stumbled in. What's going on, William Hurt? How are you? Good to see you. I am fighting these rust deposits that are absolutely making me insane. Because the rest of the pan, I don't know if you guys can see if the lighting's right or not, but overall, I mean, it's got a little bit of, I mean, once I took soap to it, it'd be fine. But I mean, overall, the inside and everything else is back to where we want it to be. But those pieces on the back, even the handles, they're stained up, but the handles came out really well. But yeah, this don't have baking soda, and baking soda would take, and it would, I could pour it on there with the, which I don't like to do, but in a special occasion like this, where it's already so badly pitted that it's not going to make much difference. Because a lot of people would have just thrown this in the trash. A lot of people would have thrown this away. And in some cases, maybe that might, you know, I wouldn't do it, but I could see if somebody else did. But I would etch that out with just vinegar and baking soda, because those things are, it's actually, I don't know if you guys can see right in here, but it's changed and bubbled up and made like deposits on there. Like the rest of this is fairly like Lodge smooth. Lodge is, it's smooth as Lodge is going to get, but it's bubbled. It's like really, it's really hit. Yeah, that might just need some straight up baking soda. It's one of those where we may take Grandpappy's advice. But even with the inside being okay, it might not be a bad idea just to cook something, season the inside and cook something on the back of it. Oh yeah, it's usable. 100. It's the bottom. Yeah, I mean 100%. 100%. It is the bottom, but I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to this sort of thing. And when you're given it, you know, the guy that owns it is a real novice with cast iron. I mean, he just got his first cast iron pans like a couple months ago, other than this one. And I don't know how long he's had that, and I don't know how long it's sat in that box. But he's really novice to this, so I'm trying to make it as good. I mean, it's gonna. I can get rust off. I mean, that's not an issue. It's just an issue right now because I don't have baking soda and my E-tank's not running. And I would stop the live stream for 10 minutes and go get some. But I'm working on my first glass of wine and I had a couple of other drinks, so I'm not getting behind the wheel. Sleek Glass Cas. Straight from the other side of the pond. How are you doing? So good to see you. Eric's back. What's going on, Eric? Good to see you. Running through the comment section here real quick. Gotta see my house slippers. Let's see, but yeah. So we're gonna let that sit in there. I'm trying to debate what to do with it, to be really honest, because other than those spots, it's really ready to hit with soap and hit with some dishwashing liquid and throw it into the oven. And I got about 30, I've got a glare on my stove, 36 minutes till that comes out, which if that doesn't come out before the end of the stream, I will post it in my post section, in the community section, so you guys can see the results of it all, which should be fine. I am going to pop the lid open on this and take a look at it. I never did get my light bulb fixed. I never think about it until I go to look in there. The one thing I will tell you, if you notice this, I'll show you this. You guys can't see inside the dark oven because the lights. I never did replace that light from when it went out. But a lot of times when you're seasoning cast iron, you have tons and tons of smoke. If you were using like Crisco or um, canola oil or whatever. But you can see as I open that up, we're at 450 degrees and there's no smoke. Cast iron cures, I mean, that was sort of a thing that I like came across with it. I didn't intend for that to be that way, but it actually does give you a virtually smokeless seasoning experience. Well, that sounded like a plug. That sounded like a plug, didn't it? A smokeless seasoning experience. Man, that sounds almost exotic. Something you do on the beach in like Corpus Christi or something. Does it have a high smoke point? To make it, I use really, really good avocado oil and cold pressed grapeseed oil. I think they're both cold pressed. I don't use the Chosen for that. I use that's the one I use for everything. But the smoke point is about anywhere from 450 or 475 to 500. But if you take the temperature, even if you're running at 450, you're going to be up. Like if I hit the oven to 500 degrees right now, it would take like 10 seconds for that to go to 500 degrees because it's already hotter than what it is. I think we're at 455 is the setting. So all the oils in it have a 450 to 500 degree smoke point, and then beeswax starts smoking at 475 to 500, and even some beeswax, and I think it's the amount of how much it's filtered. The beeswax will be up to 550 for a smoke point, but I get a light smoke off of it, which means I'm hitting the smoke point, but I'm keeping it low enough with the temperatures of the stuff that I've got on there to where I'm not smoking out the house, and it's not. You're right around 500 anyway. Even if you're running 450, 475, you're pretty close to 500 anyway. If that makes any sense. Let's see. Sea Glass Cash says, I'm really good, thank you, which is good that you are. And in the middle of a heat wave here, nearly 1 a.m., and I sat in my garden drinking tea. It's so hot. What oil did you use, cast iron? Oh, okay. Yeah, I used in case you didn't see it before, Eric, I make a thing called Cast Iron Cure. This is a crappy label. This is because this is my very first can I ever made of it, and it's probably 10 years old. But this is grapeseed oil, avocado oil, and beeswax. And my beeswax is triple filtered, which is a lot of time when you get beeswax from from mostly anywhere, it's only singularly filtered. So it's going to have honey in it. It's going to have things like that in it. I get triple. I make sure that the people that give me my beeswax do theirs 3 times. So it's just pure honey or pure beeswax. Let's see. I was in Vegas last week, 109 degrees Fahrenheit, high 90s here in California. Yeah, it's today was unseasonable. We were hitting with a heat index around 100 here. Which if you guys saw the video I did where I harvested off my rhubarb, I had to pull it because it was so hot that it was going to kill it. And now today it's 66 degrees, which is kind of cool for the month of end of June, but it's not unusual here for it to be in the 60s in June. But we have last year, if you guys remember when we were doing the pumpkins last year, I had a thing where it got unseasonably hot in June and it killed off the pumpkins. It started to kill the pumpkins off, and I had to like really do some serious gardening gymnastics to get the pumpkins to actually kind come in, stay in. And we actually had some really good amount of pumpkins last year. We got 20, I think it was 23 or 24 altogether last year. But yeah, you can see this on the side here. It's, I mean, this thing is clean except for those little bitty, like little nickel and dime tick-tacky spots where that rust is just really, really hanging on. We did manage to get it out of the logo, which was tough, but you can see on the logo there, I mean, that logo is just eaten away. It's gone on the that half part right there. But these little tick-tacky pieces of rust in there, they're not going away, and I really need to hit them with something abrasive. Like, I don't know, something. But anyway, I think we're going to wrap up here for right now. You can get the cast iron? Yeah, you can. You can get the cast iron cure on eBay. Yeah, just go to eBay and put cast iron cure in, and it'll come right up. And shipping's free. There's a single can offer, and then there's a double 2-can bundle that's a lot cheaper. It all comes with free shipping. I don't charge extra for the shipping, and it's got a volume pricing discount. So the more you buy, the cheaper it is. Which I like that one because it costs me the same to ship it, whether it's 1 can or 2. So, but yeah, it's definitely there on eBay. But anyway, I'm going to jump off here. I appreciate everybody for showing up. Thanks for hanging out. I will post, I got a half hour. I got 28 minutes until until that comes out of here. I've been on for almost 2.5 hours, which is an hour longer than I normally run. But I wanted to I've just been wanting to get back on these live streams, and I think I finally figured out what was going on with the microphone issues. So look for us to be a little more regularly coming back on and hanging out and making some food and doing some stuff like this and some gardening and all that stuff. Yeah, thanks everybody for showing up. Sea Glass Cast. I know it's late for you. It's probably, like you said, yeah, it's about 1 in the morning there. Plus Fork 8, man, thanks for showing up. William Hurt, thanks for showing up. Ronald Coward, as always, thank you for showing up. Rick Stunball, thank you so much for moderating this madness. I appreciate you. Mercy B, Debbie, my best pal Debbie. I'm going to keep it real that came in and said hello. Eric from PNW, thanks so much, man. Tell Natalia I said hello. And see, let me scroll down here and see if I missed anybody. And Dr. Razor Experiment, you're more than welcome to subscribe. Please subscribe and come back. Your comments were hilarious. And anybody else, if I missed anybody, I deeply regret it. But I think it's time for me to check out and put this back in the tank and get on with my evening, because it's 8 o'clock and my day, and 4 o'clock comes pretty darn early. So thanks for hanging in here. That's all I got. I hope that's all you need. All right. See you.